afternoon. Property 201 Emerson Avenue. I inspected 201 Emerson Avenue on 10/11/2013 because the house was being sold. Two individuals said that they were watching the house and were moving out that weekend. There were 9 dogs in the house.
There were 14 chihuahuas.
All right. I said 9. The house was in deplorable condition. I released a temporary occupancy permit on 10/25/2013. The closing date was scheduled for 10/31/13. The week of 11/18/13, got a call stating people moved in. I went up and saw 2 elderly men just finishing paying a downstairs room. There was no furniture on the first floor. I told Warren he could not move in until he got an occupancy permit. The week of 11/25/2013, got a call saying people had moved furniture into the house and were living in it. I told Warren and his son they could not live there until an occupancy permit was issued. Warren's son told me he was going to be honest with me and said when they worked late in the house, they just crashed there. This, he said, was a couple times a week. I went upstairs and noticed 2 beds in the house and some work clothes in each bedroom. There was no furniture on the first floor. I told Warren and his son to put smoke alarms in both bedrooms, ASAP. Warren called me on 12/5 asking me to come up and inspect. I told him Friday 12/6 was bad and the following week I was gone. We scheduled an appointment for 12/16 at 11 o'clock. I gave all council pictures of the house. And you see the house?
I've seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went up and seen it.
Okay. The inside of the house is in livable condition. There's a couple things on the outside he has to still do. He's gonna paint the windowsills when the weather breaks, and there's a foundation wall that is 3 blocks. It fell down several years ago. He's going to remove that and fix it. Rick, you saw the pictures of the house as it is now? Your guys were afraid to go into that house. They wouldn't be afraid to go into it now.
Good.
Now, what's the drop dead date on the
Okay,
temporary?
Okay, let me-
When does that end?
Okay, here it
Does
is.
go for infinity?
According to the 2000 International Residential Code, temporary occupancy. The building official is authorized to issue a temporary certificate of occupancy before the completion of the entire work covered by the permit, provided that such portion or portions shall be occupied safely. The building official shall set a time period during which a temporary certificate of occupancy is valid. I gave him till the end of the summer to get everything complete. That's all I have to say.
I would just like to say, John, you said you might not reach an amicable agreement with us on what was done, but you have to admit that we were at least responsive. You know, every time Dave got called, he went off, he looked. I mean, I think we're doing a better job than we had, and it gets better all the time. And hopefully, you know, the people that moved in understand that, you know, there is gonna be a modicum of professionalism and standards that the borough has to improve property, or you can't live there, and it is his call. But I appreciate you coming and letting us know, and I appreciate you calling the borough so that they could go out there originally and say, hey, these are things you have to do.
But it didn't happen when we originally started calling in June. This is one of our complaints. It didn't start, no one addressed us when we started calling in June when that house was vacant. No one called us back. There was avoidance issues here.
Well,
And there was
you know
emails,
what,
and there
I'm
was
not gonna
emails, there was
make-
emails sent. I mean, you know, we own 3 pieces of property in this borough. We're concerned residents of Munhall, and we know a lot of other people that are too. Our concern is there isn't a standard here. Because if there was, those emails and those phone calls would have been addressed long ago. So what do we do in that situation, Dan?
One thing I can address that. I think the one email she said was, because she had her smelled raw sewage coming out of the house. I turned that over to Mike Terry, because he's a sort of, and that's.
Linda, I think you're gonna see that we're gonna continue to improve, and I can only ask you to give us some leeway, because our manager left here in June abruptly, and,
I
you
know.
know, Dave was answering phones and doing a lot of other things besides just code enforcement. So I hope you bear with us, I think it's gonna get better.
Hello? Hello?
Mr. Brennan, did you have a comment?
I do have a comment. I think this is the major problem in Munhall Borough. Vacant buildings have to be addressed. and we have to address them swiftly. We have to get them back on tax rolls. Lucky enough, your property was purchased. Imagine living next to a house that wasn't purchased by someone, and that property sat there. Then what do you do, Mr. Cannon?
Tear them down.
Yep, that takes years and years and years, we
Right.
understand that,
Right.
we understand that.
So,
And it's
You're
borough
one of the
money.
lucky ones there, Linda.
Well, I don't consider ourselves lucky in this situation.
I don't consider you lucky living next to that house in the condition that it
The
was.
sewer backed up over the weekend, we have 3 inches of standing water in between the houses. There's broken sewer pipe all along the foundation of that property.
Today?
Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and
Is that
Tuesday.
storm water? Is that
Sewer.
downspout water?
It was sewer water. They called police and had it serviced. And they,
But in my,
but that, to be, to tell that side, they did take action, but,
the county health department was there, we called them. But in my email in September, long before these people bought the house, I stated about raw sewage, I've stated vermin, I stated several things in this email. It wasn't just whatever he just said, one thing. There's many issues in my email. This is an important issue.
This is the most important issue.
Yeah.
There's 300 vacant properties in Munhall, is that correct?
Over 300.
Over 300.
And what happens, what happens, I mean.
We have to get them on the tax rolls, we have to get them sold.
Yeah, exactly. This property next door to us was vacant for a year, and the taxes were delinquent for years and years and years. She lived there for years and years without paying her taxes. Now, how does that happen?
Mr. Cannon is integrally involved in a new committee. You're welcome to be part of a committee that's gonna look at and study and see, we're meeting with the solicitor hopefully next week to see how we can flip these houses quicker and get them back on the tax rolls so that they don't deteriorate and become detrimental to your property values. And with that, I'm gonna move on. Jack Wasco.